Hello, in this video we're going to learn how to solve an inequality with addition or subtraction. So I want you to remember this tip. When we solve inequalities, we are going to use the same rules as when we solve an equation. So these inequalities here, I'm going to solve them exactly the same as I would if it was an equation. That means with an equals versus an inequality. Greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. So I want to show you how that works. So we're going to solve for the variable in the equation on the left, and we're going to solve for the variable in the inequality on the right. And I want you to notice what is different of the two. So we'll start with the equation. When I solve my equation, I'm going to draw my line down the equal, so I remember whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. I have to get rid of this positive 4 to get the variable on a side by itself. The opposite of positive 4, negative 4, so I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. This cancels out, and I get x is equal to 10 minus 4, which is 6. Final answer. Okay, on the right-hand side, I'm going to still do the same thing where I have my inequality. I'm going to put a line down the middle, so I remember whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. I have to get rid of this positive 4. The opposite of positive 4 is negative 4, so I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. When I do that, my 4's cancel out. This stays the same as my inequality, and 10 minus 4 is equal to 6. Okay, did I solve them any different? On my equation side, I subtracted 4 from both sides. On my inequality side, I subtracted 4 from both sides. I did the same thing. The only difference is on my left side, I have an equals. On my right side, I have an inequality. In this case, it happens to be greater than or equal to. So the bottom line is I solve them the same way. So you already have all the skills that you need in order to do this lesson because you already know how to solve an equation with addition or subtraction. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. I want to solve in graph. So I'm going to put my line down the middle, so whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. I have to get rid of this negative 6 to get the variable on a side by itself. What's the opposite of negative 6? Positive 6, you got it. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. These 6's are going to go away, and I am left with x is less than 5 plus 6 is 11. So I have my graph pre-drawn out for you, but you have to fill in the numbers by yourself. So a couple things to know about when you fill in the numbers on a line graph. Does 0 have to be included? Not necessarily. Do you have to count by ones? Not necessarily. You can count by whatever you want, and you don't have to put 0 in. You don't have to put some positive and some negative. You can make it fit the situation that you're in. So in my case, I like to have my number kind of right around the middle because it's at 11. I'm going to count by ones. I'm going to go 12, 13, 14, 15, and we'll count backwards. 10, 9, 8. And I'm going to do some graphing. Okay, so I have a less than symbol, which is an open circle, over my 11. And which way am I going to shade? X is a less than 11. I can use my trick since my variable's on the left-hand side. And I'm going to shade to the left. But if I also remember less than means smaller than, and a number line, all the small numbers are to the left. So my answer would look like that. So I would circle this and probably erase that. So if my teacher was looking at it, I would say, okay, they know that I really meant less than 11. Okay, next. All right, this says 9 is less than or equal to x plus 5. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to put our line down the middle so we can solve this. Whatever we do to one side, we're going to do to the other side. Now my variable happens to be on the right-hand side, so that means I have to move the number that's added or subtracted to my variable. So I have to move this 5, positive 5. So I'm going to ask myself, what's the opposite of positive 5? Negative 5, bingo. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. Now these 5's are going to go away. 9 minus 5 is equal to 4. less than or equal to x. Okay, I'm more comfortable graphing when my variable's on the left-hand side. So how am I going to get this so that my variable's on the left? You want to think of it like a mirror, okay? This is like a mirror, you're going to reflect it over. This x comes here, this switches, it flips the sign. When you reflect it over the mirror, it changes. And this 4 stays the same. So I'm going to look at graphing this guy. This and this, as long as you flipped it properly, mean exactly the same thing. So I have x is greater than or equal to 4. And that means I'm going to have a closed dot. And I just have to put some numbers on my line. I'm going to put my 4 kind of somewhere in the middle. And this time I'm going to count by 2s. 4, 6, 8, 10, and 2, 0, -2, -4. Okay, and we already said we're going to have a closed dot above my 4, which will be here. And I have to determine which way I'm going to shade. This says x is greater than or equal to 4. Greater than means bigger. My bigger numbers are to the right. So I'm going this way. And if you use the trick, it shows you that your arrow is going to point to the right. So both of these, your graph and this inequality here, both of these are part of your answer. Let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.